Well, good afternoon and welcome to Partick Hill Station for this running session. And never really know what's going to happen. We could get some derailments, some disconnection of some of the wagons, coaches, because it seems to be an ongoing issue. And what I'm trying to do is determine whether it's the wheels that may be out around the gauge or the couplings. And you know, one day is different from the next, and there always seems to be one particular or one carriage, one wagon that goes off the rails without explanation. So just trying to get a view without me in it. I tried to have a couple of cameras going, but there's always an issue with that too. Now, I have a number of mainline wagons as well as Triang, maybe some dapple. And as you know, they're all a bit different. And I'm never really sure which one is going to work best. So it shows up in particular with the whiskey tanks, which I've got. I have to make sure they've got the traditional Triang Hornby D couplings, and I've noticed that you have to have them lined up perfectly. You can maybe see that. You know, you've got to make sure they're in the right position, that there's no interference. That's a problem. The other thing is, if I can find it, you know, there's a smaller D, see that, and then the larger one, so there may be an issue there. Now, in addition to that, some have got steel wheels and some have got plastic wheels. And I'm guessing that the plastic wheels are a little bit out of ground. And I noticed that often on coaches, and in particular Triang coaches, the Triang coaches seem to, and especially the Grizzlies, they seem to run off the track for no apparent reason. Now, on this goods train with the oil tanks, this particular tank here comes off at a particular point, and I'm not really sure why. Now, I don't think I can change the gauge on these because it's a solid axle. It's not a split axle. So I would guess that either the wheels aren't perfectly round, not gauged properly, or maybe it's the coupling that's not working, because the next one along is, I believe, is a main line or a Bachmann. It's a nice one, and it's got a smaller coupling, and this in combination with the with the Triang, or what is this? Yeah, assuming this is a Triang, it seems to be problematic and won't work very well with the Bachmann. And the Bachmann's a beautiful little tank. So we'll just let them run around for the moment and we'll see what happens. I might just get lucky. And in fact, what I've done is behind the laptop in the upline, I took out one of the points that would take, would allow locos to come in from this end of the layout and come into the main line. I took that one out because everything seemed to have a problem with it, and I replaced it with a straight piece of track, and it seems to be working. So this will enable me to move forward with my plan of putting a third mainline track in there, and I'll get into that over the next week or two. And I'm just watching that tanker go past now, and it seems to be running okay, and all I did was I turned it around. So maybe it's a combination of the coupling or the hook, which wasn't sitting well with the adjacent or the following wagon. There's somebody in there. Well, hi, whoever you are. Yeah, hi. It's a pleasure to drop by. I can't tell who you are because no comments. If you can let me know. So if I just so if you could just let me know if you can hear this, give me a thumbs up or something. Because I've also had issues with audio in the past, and especially in the last couple of weeks. Some of you may know that I also do a podcast on how to restore a 1960s Chevrolet Camaro. And I have a friend who does this in his spare time. And we've done a few podcasts now, and we ran into issues with StreamYard. And what happened was I had everything set up, and I pressed the go live button, and of course it asks you, do you want to go live? And I said yes, and we went live. But 10 minutes or so into the production, I realised there was no views, and wasn't really sure what was going on, and I tried to edit it, and I went out, and I noticed that it was on private. Now, this happened a couple of times. I went private initially to get things set up, then I changed it to public, and when I went back in to go live, somehow it managed to default back to private. So that's why I ask people, can you let me know if you can see it, if you can hear it? That way I know for sure it can be seen and heard, as they say. So far, the exercise has been fairly successful in terms of running wagons and coaches not hanging up on anything. This old Triang BMU kind of bobbles over the odd point, but for its age, it runs pretty well. It gets there. So I'll maybe pull that one in next time round and give it a rest. We'll get something else out. And that class 25 or 26, whatever it is, I managed to get it out on the fly. I had two trains running on the same track, but there's an example of not paying attention and switching one of the points. So you can run more than one train through DC. So I had another person come in, now they've gone, so I'm not really sure if we're live on YouTube, but there may be a way of checking this. I'll just take a look and see. Yeah, I'm public, it says, so that's a good thing. George Perez. Hello, George. I haven't seen you on here before. I have a good friend, Pablo Perez. I worked with Pablo with a consulting engineering company, and Pablo is originally from South America. Where are you from, George? Oh, you've been watching the Since the Knives review. Oh, well, that's good. That's interesting. And funny you should say that, because I did have a comment from someone saying, when did you realise you put the knives in backwards into the block? So that was very funny. But I guess, if you're not paying attention, things happen like that. So I've done a couple of knife reviews, and I might do another one because they seem to be fairly popular. So this is the other hobby, right? I just see what I should say. But I was just saying a couple of minutes ago there that I've got another thing going, and that's a podcast about a 1960s car review. Oh, Chicago, yeah, love Chicago. Been there a few times, George. Great city. I go back tomorrow. I love it there. Great architecture, nice people, lots to see and do. Yeah. So, yeah, you know, the Camaro 67 to 69 is a Generation 1 series. And my daughter's partner, his father owns these vehicles, and he buys them, and then, you know, then he rebuilds them from the bottom up. He'll take all the panels off, send them out to a body shop, and he'll work on the engine, transmission, etc., and put them together again. And he's got an engine and a transmission sitting in his garage, and we just brought in the one finished one, the blue one. So if you go to my channel, you'll see episode 4 of the podcast series, and you will see the car being brought back to his garage, and then we have a chat about it. So there's always something else going on. So I'm just taking it that you might not be a model train guy. You like the knives, but maybe not the model trains. But yeah, variety is the spice of life, right? And lots of new knives coming out. Because I know the owner, so he's got lots of stuff cooking, let's say. New series of stuff coming out, like enormous big knives, like this long, amazing quality. Well, maybe we'll bring this one in. Yeah, you got to keep have eyes in the back of your head. I've been watching the train videos as well, creating the scenery, like the building. Yeah, buildings. Yeah, George, those buildings, they're from kits that you can buy, and they're quite authentic looking, and give a sense of realism. The one thing I may have to do to them is go over them with some black ink and weathering powders, just to add a bit of realism to them. You know, you may have seen the scrap container. Well, that was, I made this out of plastic art and painted it and weathered it. It's all kinds of things you can do. It's really interesting. I'd like to spend a bit more time working on the buildings. And, you know, you've probably seen the concrete wall. And that's made from foam core, and then I painted it, scored it to put in some structural joints, and added a bit of grass for effect. So there's lots of people out there that are far, far better at this than I am, but I like learning how to do new techniques and try different stuff. And I was saying that, this gets facilitated by StreamYard. It's a great little piece of software that enables you to do this type of broadcast, and it gives you all the tools. Now I'm using the basic setup, so I can do a broadcast, and I can have the comments, and I can add banners in. Let's see. Yeah, welcome to Partick Hill Station. Get your comments ready. So you can do that type of stuff, and what it does, it then pushes it through YouTube. The issue that I have is I could be sitting here for an hour and may only get one comment, and that would be like yourself, but I've got no idea how many people are actually watching what's going on. And I find that after the fact, I would go into YouTube, and I would see that there had been many more viewers on YouTube, and I'm not really sure how that is divided up. But it's a good little piece of software that facilitates this, and I belong to a group over in the UK, and of course I'm in Toronto, so hence I do like to get to Chicago. We drove there one time. I think it was a 10-hour drive, a long drive, but worthwhile. As I was saying, I belong to a group in the UK. It's all about Great Spiral Railways. So I've made lots of friends, acquaintances, people with similar interests. And one guy, his name is Rob Johnson. He made me that tree. Fantastic work, and I've yet to find the best spot for it, because I haven't finalised the layout until I get the third line in, and I'm happy with everything. Then I'll start making sure it's all nailed down, because the track is sitting on top of Homasort, which is a building insulation board, and it's soft enough to take nails. So I do that. But I want to wait until I've made the decision, and I've got the track fixed. Then I'll put a tunnel over on the one side, over here, where you're exiting the station. And then I might move some buildings around, and then I'll add in some additional scenery. And, there's the type of building you can do very simply, low profile, with simple materials, a little bit of paint and weathering goes a long way. maybe somewhere else. A little bit of an echo. Not really sure when the echo is going to start. Alright, let's see about which one we can bring this one in. Alright, let's get something else out here. Yeah, so it's all very much a case of trial and error. And as I said, I'm not the expert here. Oh, yeah. There's an example of something going off track now. I wasn't paying enough attention, and I'm not really sure what caused that, but we'll keep an eye on it next time. Sometimes the odd wagon or coach, the wheels aren't perfect, and it will cause the one to come off, and then it pulls everything off with it. And I guess that's the same thing that happens in real life. But the points, or turnouts as I call them, they're often the issue. So, as I said, I think I've solved the one problem. With wagons and coaches bobbing around. And that is the one point that I took out, replace it with piece of straight track. Everything seems to run a bit better. Okay, so yeah, I see the problem there is the one coach has a definite problem with this point. It might just be that there's a number of wheels that are out of round. It seems to be the same coach all the time that does that. Who did that? It's chaos now. Oh. I have to shut everything down for a minute because a disaster has occurred. As I say, partially because I wasn't paying enough attention, and you know, as usual, just all it takes is for one to go off the track and it can have the domino effect. And also, you know, you have to make sure that you've got all your points going in the same direction. Because sometimes I've found if I don't have them all set perfectly, they seem to open up or and you don't get a complete connection, and that could cause a derailment. I just need to bring this around to pick up here. Yeah, see, that one just rolled right off. And that could also be as a result of it not having enough weight. Anyway, normal running will continue momentarily, as I say. Yeah, so that's it. As I say, you've got your eyes in the back of your head. Anyway, George has had to leave, but that was good of George to drop by. And if you don't know what it was all about, you know, George lives in Chicago. He just so happened to have found me doing a YouTube video for Dow Strong Knives. If you don't know who Dow Strong Knives are, and you consider yourself a bit of a chef and that you like cooking and knives, then go to Amazon and search for Dow Strong Knives. You get a fantastic array and collection of these beautiful knives, tremendous quality and design, and I've been fortunate to get a few, and I've always done a review of them through YouTube. I think I'm just going to bring this in because those coaches seem to have an issue with that one point. stop that, and then I'll see what else I can bring around here. Maybe bring this one into the station for a moment. Then I'll change these points. And then I'll bring out this LMS Black 5 pulling a rake of whiskey grain carriers. And this is really a test for them because they don't always work that great because of the wheels, I think, or a combination. So I took a lot of care in trying to line up the couplings so that they weren't jumping around. Trying to figure out what we're seeing here in this camera and what the best position would be. Yeah, see that one just wandered off without sort of explanation. Yeah, hang on with this. Just bear with me while I fix this. In this particular case, it might be the wheels. Yeah. And as I say, I'm really not sure what causes them to unhook. Yeah, see, I never know which one is going to start to wobble. And because one wobbles, it causes an imbalance in the coupling. And then you get the domino effect, as I said. And I think what I'm going to have to do is spend some time just sitting, checking out each individual wagon to make sure that it's in first class working order. And that's a bit of a laborious task, but will just have to be done. goes again. So it's entirely possible that all the guys over in the UK are either down at the pub celebrating because they can, or they're watching some other channel that I didn't notice that was getting broadcast today. I think we should have a schedule of who's on when. This being Tuesday, it might be Barnabas Junction. And I just noticed there, like the two hooks weren't properly aligned. So I'm just going to try and send this old princess around on its own, see how she fares. Get a little bit of wobbling there. Maybe give that a rest, and then I'll see what the princess will do. I'll just check so that we can bring her out. And for effect, I'm not sure how well it will work. I will add in the Spitfire, and that should be a little bit different for people to see. Now I think this particular Princess 6201 in LMS livery is the one that's got the chuffer in the tender. So there's no DC here, no DCC audio here, it's all DC audio. And it's amazing, like that locomotive was done in the 60s, 1960s, and it still runs. All it needs is a little bit of maintenance clean up every now and again. And you know, away she goes. I just get noticed that my Mac will fall asleep momentarily, so I'm going to have to plug it in and hopefully it won't blank out on me. Yeah, that should do it. Right. Little British Railways 440. It's a nice little runner. I got that as part of the Hornby Model Railway Club. I've also got another shunter that I got from them too, so that was a good deal. Being a member, subscribing, Hornby's to the locals. So as the Princess goes round there, it's just running steadily, no problems. You know, it's surprising how well it does run. So as I said, there's a number of things I have to do, you know, and one of them is the track plan. And, you know, most likely I'll leave the station as you see it, with the 4 tracks, and I'll have 3 main lines going around, and that'll give me a bit of variety to run. And I may reconfigure the storage in, see how to maximise it to get the best running from it. Alan Reynolds, Alan in the loft, how are you? Good to see you there. There you go, I'm fine, Alan, thank you. It's about 27 degrees outside. We've got the gazebo up, and I was out there this morning about 7:30, 8 o'clock, watering the flowers. And then I read for a while a book about the Forgotten Highlander by a gentleman by the name of Partick from Aberdeen, who survived the Japanese prisoner of war camps and the building of the River Kwai, the bridge. A horrific experience, and goes into a huge amount of detail of, you know, the surrender of Singapore, and then they were taken on this. They were told they were going to a holiday camp, and some of the guys thought it was Butlins, and they ended up on a train for about 6 or 7 days in these steel, like, cattle wagons, and there were 30 plus guys jammed into it, and they were they're only allowed off the train about 2 or 3 times, you know, in the jungle, so they couldn't escape. It's just impossible. And then they arrived after a long trek through the jungle to this open area where they were told to sleep, and then first thing in the morning start building your huts. And basically they were an A-frame style hut that you had to build. And just terrible treatment by the Japanese, like torture, abuse, like horrific stuff. And, you know, thank God I never had to go through that. Talking about people dropping next to you while they were trying to break up boulders. You know, abusive treatment, just awful. So I took a break from that and thought I'd come in and do a quick video. And what I'm trying to do, Alan, is just check stuff to make sure, trying to find out what the issue is. Is it the wheels, as you pointed out before? They might be out of round a little bit. Is it the points? Is it the couplings? Because, as you know, also you get a variety of couplings, and they don't always match up. So, but there you go. There's the old Princess, and I know you've got at least one, and it runs like a charm, like a clock. You know, absolutely no problem. I took out one of the points here because it was problematic. I don't think it was closing properly. I think the spring had gone. So I removed it and put on a piece of straight track, and that solved that problem at that location. And so I've just systematically run a few trains here just to try and analyse what the problems are with each of them. I had the E3000 running, pulling some British Rail Mark 1 coaches, but one of them seems to be bobbing about, and I'll need to look at the wheels on that. I'll just pull this little pug out and give it a rest. It looks tired already. So I thought you'd like that one there too, Alan. Do you have one of those? I haven't seen one of those running on your layout, but you know, I picked it up a few years back for a reasonable price. I actually bought the two-piece set, and then I found another one, and I cleaned it up a little bit, and it runs okay. It sort of stumbles a little bit over the odd point, but considering its age, it just chunks along there just fine. And Alan, how are you doing? What are you working on today? More landscape, I would imagine. And if you haven't, if there's anybody else watching in the background, have a look for Alan in the loft. He's got a great big layout that I really like, and he's working furiously on it every day, every night. And I always look forward to see his videos the following day. He's always got something interesting going on, and he's been the beneficiary of a few gifts that he's unboxed for us, which is, I find that so thrilling and rewarding for you, Alan, and it really demonstrates what a great community it is that you belong to. You have people sending you a local or a couple of wagons. Like, maybe I'll send you something. see if I can bring something else out. Just check all these points, make sure I'm getting the right one. Find the bottom. The outside one. Yeah, here you go. Unfortunately, I think this one needs a little bit of a clean, as you can tell by its feeling. Because it's a Ringfield motor and they are notorious for that. So maybe give that a rest and I'll bring out another Hornby that I'm sure you would appreciate, and hopefully it will do the business. Bear with me. Alright, let's see if we can get this whole girl going. Make sure I'm on this one, round here, there. That should work, all being well. There's a disaster. Things toppling over. Domino effect again. I'm glad we don't have a camera like this. What a pretty sight. So what a drain over the track. And then you get a large vacuum out here. I'm not really sure why this one doesn't run. Usually does quite well. Yeah, we'll try this grain train again. See how it does. seems to be running okay, but tracks moved around a little bit. Needs a bit of realignment, and that's part of the process I'm going through, Alan, if you're still there. I haven't tied the track down everywhere because I'm not completely satisfied with the layout, and I'm planning to make a couple of changes. So as a consequence, you know, if something moves at a point, if you know, they tend to throw off the track up or down if it's not tied in. Anyway. So for the most part, everything seems to be working well, and that's a good thing. But see, that old princess just keeps chugging. Anyway, I think it's time for me to sign off because I think Barnabas Junction is probably on live too, and I might just swing over there and see what's happening. So, George Perez in Chicago, thanks very much for dropping by again, George. We just put a video of the old model of your car. We visited Buckland Junction today. He came with a bag of things to run the way. Oh, that's great. Very happy to hear that, Alan, that you got a bit of company. Yeah, I look forward to seeing what you had and what you were running. Yeah, I've got a problem here because the couplings got jammed up, and of course, one thing led to another. Yeah, I need to shut things down. Okay, Alan, take care and go get shopping. Yeah, and I'll catch you in the loft, Alan. Everybody else, thanks very much for dropping by, and we'll see you next time here at Partick Hill Station. Bye for now.